My name's Leslie Mabon, and I'm a social scientist who works at the Scottish Association for Marine Science. I'm also a member of the Young Academy of Scotland, where I lead the Zero Carbon by 2045 Grand Challenge, and I'm a Future Earth Coasts Fellow. It's really become quite prominent in my mind that climate change does not affect all sections of society equally, and that often those who have done the least to cause climate change and who have the least ability to respond are the people who will be hit first and hardest. These inequalities and these differences are relevant at the national, and the regional, and even at the community level. Those of us in the global north have disproportionately caused climate change to happen, and therefore have a significant responsibility for managing and responding to and reducing its impacts. I'm a senior lecturer in social science at the Scottish Association for Marine Science. So I work broadly on the issues of people and their relation to the seas and the coasts. I'm a social scientist, which means that I think a lot about people and how people feel about climate change, how people think about climate change, and what people do in response. So what my work is really involved with is thinking about ways that we as a whole society can work together to come to consensus or agreement, or at least understand our differences. And through dialogue and through talking to each other, hopefully get a sense of how we can develop a pathway into the future that's going to give us a response to climate change that is scientifically appropriate and also socially acceptable. So across a whole suite of projects that sit at this interface between natural resources, the natural environment, and people, my work's been seeing that we've got immense potential in Scotland through nature, through natural resources, and through indeed the human skills that we have to respond really well to climate change. But we need the leadership and the governance to make sure that this happens in a way that brings benefit and supports those who are most at risk of harm. So in my own work, I see the greatest uncertainties as not being about the natural and physical science of climate change, but about being about social effects and how climate change affects people. And I think the only way that we can really try to work around and communicate these uncertainties is to encourage dialogue and discussion. For example, we've done work in the northeast with oil and gas industries, trade unions, oil and gas workers, who clearly are willing and are interested to train into other jobs, but would like more concrete evidence and knowledge on what kind of jobs they might do, what salaries they might pay, whether their skills are transferable or not. So these kind of things, there are uncertainties in these areas too. So I think it would be really great if we could use the fact that COP is coming to Scotland as an opportunity for our scientists, our researchers, indeed our policymakers as well, to actually get out and engage with wider society, and particularly for people who might sit at the interface or might have a pathway into the high-level negotiations, to reach out across the whole country, talk to people, explain what COP is, how it works, how climate change negotiations affect their daily lives, and use that as a conduit to make a link between wider society and these spaces of privilege.